Hello, welcome. It's time for some more Haskell writing. This week I'm going to pick up where I left off last week, which is trying to. I'm working on an application called Showtime. It stores information about upcoming podcast episodes. I had it working with storing the data in a file. So it would store a list of hosts and participants and topics we can talk about and upcoming episodes. And last week I started to swap that out to store the data in Postgres instead using postgresql-simple. And I got it just about working to load data about hosts from a file. So plan for today is to keep going with that work to add missing actions for hosts, like adding them and removing them. And then look at how we support other data types as well. And then we can do this in some kind of clever way. So let's get cracking with it, I guess. So this is code from last week. I'm just going to check it still works. I've started the database already, I think, probably. So let's see if it runs. So I'm going to run hosts list. And that did not work. I wonder if it didn't work because I didn't persist the volume group, so I don't have people in my database. Don't have a database probably actually. Let's go. Does Showtime exist? Showtime does not exist. Okay, back to this nonsense. So let's instead connect as Postgres. So I have to do some Postgres stuff to start off with again. Hopefully it'll be in history. Oh, look at that. Somewhere, maybe. There we go. Okay. Right, create database Showtime, first thing. Then we want to create user Showtime password secret. That should be good. Okay, and then it was the alter line I needed to do as well. So it's alter database Showtime, owner to Showtime. Okay, done that. Should now be able to reconnect, but this time as Showtime. Okay, and now I should be able to say it should be a history as well. So create table somewhere. Yep, create table hosts. Cool. And then at some point I have to look at I was going to say migrations, I guess, or something to set up the database tables for me. But anyway, for now, let's go with this. So we now have a table called hosts, and it should have an entry in it. There we go. Cool. So we'll switch back to here and run the application again. It now reads Bob out of that table. Here we just stick another value in there. So put Betty in there. We get Bob and Betty. Okay, cool. So the code I wrote last week still works. That's a good start, I guess. This is a bit annoying. So the unmarshaller for hosts, that's in the cast file, I think. Somewhere. Storable, yeah. So when I had it in the file before, originally when I first wrote this, I had one file and it contained both hosts and participants, and that's all it had in it. And I prefixed the host with the literal string host, and that's how I knew it was a host. And if there was no prefix of host, I would assume it's a participant. When I implemented the file storage, I supported this with the marshaller and unmarshaller. So when you marshal the host data, it puts a prefix on the front, and when you unmarshal it, what it used to do is strip host off the beginning, and I don't need that anymore. And I'm wondering if the marshaller and unmarshaller are actually not relevant for storing in a database, because the way you marshal it into a file is not the way you'd marshal the data to put it in a database. And it's probably going to become particularly true with things like episodes. Here, an episode has got a cast inside it, which has got a host and some participants, and it's got some topics inside it, and I'm thinking it's going to be columns in the database. So the way the marshaller works for this which is a little bit complicated. The way Marshal workspace is probably not going to be relevant for the way we want to marshal and unmarshal data, putting it into the database. So I need to kind of rethink this prefix idea. Maybe this whole marshal and marshal interface. But I don't necessarily want to put everything into the database. I don't think I want to drop this constraint. Because we can't just give it something and have it know how to put that into debit, like what columns to put it in. So what I'd really like to do, what is it I'd like to do actually? What I'm thinking is when we select the data from hosts, all of this is going to be very specific to this database layer. It's not really reusable. So I don't want to treat it as kind of just a flat, maybe not a flat storage, but like a KV store where we just grab the data and it's some kind of encoded stuff and we decode it. I guess I could just remove the Marshal and Marshaller for now, but that's going to break the file storage. If I did this, just out of curiosity, and we don't unmarshal it, which means we don't need to map maybe, because this is always just going to extract that. They're going to save. I just waiting to see if the language server is running. It's not a happy sign. It's not what I wanted to see. Okay, restart LSP, see if that helps. Yeah, okay, cool. Cool, maybe. I got rid of map, maybe I should map. No instance of from field for A, because it doesn't know what A is. So can we do this where it's a host? That's going to come from cast. That did not help at all. It's trouble you get too flexible with your types. Is it? It can't infer here what the type of A is, so it doesn't know how to. I know it's a string, but that doesn't help it. And we really want it to return a host, I think. So maybe the unmarshaller does make a little bit of sense. Like it's doing more than nothing for me in this case, because it should be turning it back into, well, that's no good to me. It should be turning it back into a host. Right, this part is important as well. So given we got some data, turn it back into a host. Yeah, okay. I'll continue that for now, but I'm still not happy with the way this marshaller and unmarshaller are working. It feels like I'm going to have to make it specific to the way I'm storing the data. Okay, if we're trying to add a host H to the database, it's still undefined. If we're trying to add some other thing, then I'm going to say error. Don't know how to store, and we'll show T. Okay, so you have a host in the database. I'm going to try and add something in to the database here. So I can say something. It won't be query, I don't think, for an insert. Maybe it is, but I think query will return stuff. So let me find Hoogle, not even Hoogle, just want to find the docs for this. It's execute in our connection, insert into whatever. So this will be insert into hosts. First name is just called name. And this is going to be marshalling of H. Marshal, oops, I spelled it right, H. And it's s.marshal. Okay, let me load. Oh, I'll execute. Con is not a thing, so it's db.connection. 1 second, just put one line. Okay, that should be good, and it's going to return to me an int64. I guess that's the ID. I don't really care about that. So we'll check away the result. Do we have execute underscore? Because I don't actually want the result. There is one of those. Okay, and that still returns an int64. It's not what I want at all then. So I guess execute underscore just doesn't have these placeholder arguments. Okay, so I will check that away, and I'll just return nothing. Okay, so in theory now I should be able to also add things to the database. Just want to see what my warning is. Sorry. Okay, I'm not using it. Okay, so in theory, I'm just going to run the list again, force it to build, make sure it still works, see who's in there. And then we should be able to say add Bippy. Why not? Good enough name. Okay, don't know how to load Bippy. Don't know how to load participant. Don't know how to load participant. Okay, what does add actually do? That's going to be in commands cast, I think. So adding a host should call storage add host, which says add unless exists. Aha. And add unless exists is going to say already in cast. Oh goodness. No, that seems to be adding them. Sorry, I think I might be in the wrong place. What's in the right place? We go to add host, add unless exists. Which checks it's not in the cast, and load cast does what? Oh, it loads all of the hosts and all the participants. Is that right? Yes. Okay, so load cast is a bit misleading. I guess it's a full cast. It's everyone that exists. So we're going to make sure it's not already in this list of hosts or participants. Okay, let's create a participants table. Not there. Not there. Here. So we'll create a table called participants, and it'll look exactly the same for now. Okay, and now what we want to do is implement load participants. So we will go back to here and we will say definition of load. No, wrong button. So if we try and load participants, we will say select name from participant, and we'll unmarshal that just to see if this works. So hosts list should still work. And participants list should just give us back nothing. Not quite. Participants does not exist. Did I give the wrong name? Participants. Participants. I still regret choosing this name. Try it again. Okay, it's empty. So now can we add Bippy? Apparently yes. And then we list the hosts not in there. I take it's not a participant either. No, just threw it away. So I think it should run this, and it didn't seem to do anything. Just quickly have a look at how we marshal stuff as well, actually. We don't actually want the host prefix. We just want get host of h. Okay, so marshal is just get host. Shouldn't make any difference. If we select star from hosts, it's definitely not there. Okay, so back in here, when we store it, we call add, you should be saying certain to hosts name and then this value. And this value should be the thing that we pass in. Okay, so a row of n query results. So you should use only to represent a single column result. It's not really a result though, is it? Stem return results. That looks like it should be fine, I think. Give like a quick start. This is selecting. This is selecting. This seems to be inserting. We don't want to use that. Seems like I should be able to run, execute, whatever. Have a quick look at the type of execute, see what it is giving me back. postgresql-simple. Does not expect to return results. Returns the number of rows affected. So given some connection and some query and something which is rowable, it should give me back the number of things that were updated. I've got let. That's going to be a problem. Okay, I'm assigning underscore to the IO action of executing this thing. Let's try doing that. Just throw away the number of rows changed. Okay. Let's try adding Bippy again. Let compile first. Okay, and then hosts list. There we go, Bippy was inserted. Cool. Remove, I guess we'll have a quick look at that. Why did I copy all that? Doesn't really make sense, but anyway. Remove, so given a host, and data type of host, and the host we want to delete, and the connection. This will be delete from hosts. Where name equals question mark, and we'll just marshal into there as well. Okay, and then remove some type, some host we removed in the connection, and this is going to be the error message that we had before. And remove singular, and that should be add, and there should be a space. Okay, that should be it for removal, and then truncating. Okay, so truncate some type in a connection, and we should then say don't know how to truncate. Up here, truncate for s.host, and database should be this is going to be execute db connection, and what we're going to do is say delete from hosts. It's actually going to execute underscore because I'm going to pass any arguments in. Okay, delete from hosts. Very good. Delete from hosts. And I'm just going to quickly add these in for participants as well, for some value quickly. But let's see how it goes. Okay, so when we delete a participant, there's a lot of repetition here. I'm just going to get it all written out and then try and look for the patterns that are emerging, the things I should really be doing. So this would be participant. We delete from participants with that, and then truncate. Finally, we shouldn't really need truncate, but let's do it anyway. I can't remember where we use truncate. It might only be for testing. Participant. And we're going to say delete from participants. Okay. Back to here. Let's quickly compile it. Okay, and then we will run participants, but we're going to add Freddie. And then participants list should show that. Yep, and I can't remember. There's no help. Okay, let's delete Freddie, I guess. Is it delete or remove? Remove Freddie, and then if we list participants, cool. If we list the hosts, so if I try and add a participant called Bob, this should do nothing because Bob is already a host. That looks correct. But if I delete Bob from list of hosts and then add Bob as a participant, it should work. So hosts, remove Bob, participants add Bob, participants list, and there we go, Bob is now a participant. Okay, again there, so we got other things which are topics. I'm just going to repeat all this code, I guess. So topic, and maybe I'm just going to stop for a second and say, actually, this is exactly the same, except the table name changes. So let me see if I can. This is always going to be the same. Let's see if it's always the same. So given some type T, we're going to select name from question mark, and we're going to pass in list of queries, which is going to be table name. I need to import this, I'm guessing. Yep. And then we'll marshal it. Okay. For that, for now, I'm just going to stick table name here, but we might pull it out. So table name. Because I want to extract this to function later, I think I'm going to pass in the type. So it's going to take an s.data type. Oops, s.data type, and it's going to return a string, I guess, or a byte string, one of those two. Or text. I don't know what I'm returning here. Probably not text because we don't have that in place, do we? Oh. Yeah, text not in scope. Okay. I'm going to try string. I don't know if that's right or not. So it's going to be a little pattern matching. So table name of s dot host is just hosts. Can we show this? Let's just cheat a bit. So it's going to be show t plus s. Let's try that. So it is shadowing, but I'm just going to move it out to some function for a second. Okay, so I'm going to stick up here. So we now have a way of getting the table name back from the data type. So I should be able to just load from hosts. Let's see if it still works. It does not. There. Get rid of it. Okay. Try it again. SQL, okay. Capital hosts. Also syntax error. I'm not sure it's the capital that's going to bother it, but maybe that's upsetting it. I don't know. Where's our table name? So it's going to be show t, but we want to lower it. Is there like there's a character to lower? Is there like some kind of string to lower? Lowercase. I'm just going to guess at method names until it comes up. Okay. I want to go string to string. It's going to be it's going to be a lot of stuff. And it's going to be something like lower case. Lowercase. But it's in extra. Okay, I can just map data dot. Try again. Where I can map data dot character dot lower over the string. I hope that's a thing. Okay, let me second. Let me import data.character qualified as car, how I pronounce it. This is going to be char dot. I thought there's some kind of thing in data.character, but obviously not. Case conversion to lower. Don't know why I didn't show up. Okay. So it's going to be lowering of showing t adding s onto the end of it. So there's going to be, I can just write it quickly, pluralize is not, I think, might be the wrong way around. Pluralize lower show. And we can drop the t off there. Don't know if that works or not. I'm exporting everything, so I can just say compile REPL. I can import postgresql storage, I think. Yep. And I should be able to say, oh, I need to import storage. Is that the name of the thing? Then can I say, what's the type of host? Host, the data type, okay, cool. So now can I say table name of host, and I get shoshed. Not quite right. Participants. Okay, not quite there. Flip that. I hope that works. It does not work. Where is S? Is that? Stop trying to be so clever. Participants. Okay, it's not the correct table name. Right. Cabal run hosts list. Does this work? Yes and no. Okay, so I'm guessing, just guessing here, it's quoting the name. I'm not just guessing, I can see it in the output, but it seems to be quoting this thing that I'm passing in. I don't want it to do that. So let's be very naughty and have unescaped SQL being passed in. What could possibly go wrong? And this is now query underscore again. So we need to re-import that and then get rid of, oops. Okay, kind of. It wants it to be a query, but it's actually a string. So it looks like because of over the strings, when I write this, it gets converted to right type, which is query, but this does not. So can we say query of this? And then we'll import query. Will that work? It doesn't feel right. But query is not, that's, it's now a byte string. Okay. I really want to join these together and then convert it into byte string. Was it? Yeah, all those strings won't do that for me. So if I make this a byte string, it won't put it for me. Okay, is it dead as a byte string? Where am I? I'm looking on execute. Execute postgresql-simple. Click through here. Query is a query string. Tend to make it difficult. Okay, so it's trying to stop me from doing what I'm doing. I guess that's fair. But I do want to be able to have an unquoted parameter. So here, all of the query params are not the table name. Helper functions. Doesn't look very helpful. The query type. I want a non-coded version of it. That's what I want. This is not helping, I don't think. They have succeeded in making it difficult for me to just manually build a query, but I do want to do it this time. Implements monoid, so I could return. No, I can't. I was going to say I could return query from here and concatenate them, but I can't return query from here because I can't build it from this. I could import byte string as its own package, but I could pull that in, I guess. Oh, this is a bit annoying. Let's try doing that because it's better than just staring at it all night. So build depends here on byte string, and what version of byte string is it? 0.11.3.1. So we're going to equal to, and it was 0.11.3.1, I think. This pops up here. And I should be able to import data byte string. Okay, and now I can't call lower. So pluralize of lowering of showing a thing should give me like a string, and then I want to convert it. I'm going to convert it into byte string. So I want something like from string. Is there a from string? Well, I can just search for that, right? We have a, back to Google, we have a string and we want a byte string. Seems pretty straightforward. Pack or from string, but pack is probably what I want, I think. We're not something particularly clever here. bs.pack of that. And it should have worked this out. Byte string is bs. No. Oh, did a byte string char8 or okay, so this one is probably wrong. Does that work? Possibly. Okay, we have a byte string. We actually want a query. Okay. So is there some way to go from a byte string to a query? First of all, actually, is there a way to go from string to query? Have I just missed something? I can't see anything down here, which is from postgresql-simple. So can I go from a byte string to a query? That's probably the worst way of typing this. Byte string to a query. Yes, there is. There's the constructor. Okay, so I want this to be a query. And I will import it. So we have a byte string and I want to make it a query. And now we want to, we should fix this one for me. We want to import a constructor as well. What? Did I not do that? Did here. I thought query had something, constructor of query. It does not export that. Okay. Get rid of that. Go down to where my error is and see if we can work out what to import. There's a simple types, it seems. Okay, and then can we do this? I cannot do that, and I get an error. But up here, I should be able to do this, maybe. Yeah, the error's gone away. Okay, so I can then just remove redundant imports. Okay, not super comfortable with building our own query because it's trying to stop us from doing that. But anyway, now we can concatenate our queries. So hopefully, when I run this, it should work. Maybe. That's cool. It gets the hosts back, and then participants list gets that back. Okay, so a little bit uncomfortable about this, but it does seem to work. So this thing, hosts and participants are going to behave in a particular way. I don't know about everything else. Oh, incidentally, we can't list topics yet because I haven't created a table. Create table topics. These are all very simple table. Got topic name. I guess topics can have a topic. Just call it name because then my query will just work. Everything will be the same shape. So if you just look at host participants and topics, they've all got the same structure, so they should all work with the same code. So given some t, these for a second. We should say insert into, and that's where we're going to put our table name. Just here. So we can say table name of T. I'm going to put it in the name field. And this is going to be a similar thing. So we're going to delete from, we're going to quote all of this. And here we're going to say we're going to delete from the table name of T. What name is that? Okay. And this truncate should be very easy, I guess. So given some T, we're going to say delete from and table name of T. Right, so she will add, remove, and delete host, participants, and topics now. Episodes will not work. So back here we say topics list. Current topics, so we can say topics add John cannot write the code good. And topics list. There we go. We have a topic that's available. Okay. So where does that bring us up to? Apart from episodes, we have a way of storing, listing, listing, adding, and removing participants, hosts, and topics. Well, let's just work for the front end as is. It might be a bit hard to test because when you go to front end, it tries to load episodes first. But if I run API, opens in the browser, it should crash. Oh no, it was not terrible actually. Topics. Here we have our topic. And we have a cast. That's surprisingly good. So if I add Bob and Freddie, does that work? It seems to work. If I reload the page, it seems to work to make Freddie a host. Okay, that's pretty cool. I didn't expect it to work first time, so that's pretty good. Topics are good. Create new topic. Testing. It's a good topic, isn't it? Databases. All good things to talk about. Reload this. Just flip it back to VS Code. If I list the topics, they're all in there. Good. So obviously I can write the code good. An upcoming episode is problematic because we don't have a table called episodes and we won't store stuff in the same way. Naming things is hard, now it's easy. Name it name. Name is a good name for names of things. Okay. Episodes is going to break all of this thinking because episodes do not have the same shape. They are not a single column called name. I'm going to have to think of something a bit better. So when I'm marshalling this data, I guess when I'm marshalling it maybe doesn't make that much sense. You don't marshal it in general. you marshal it per storage type. So when I'm trying to store it in a database, I will want to create, I want to know what field I'm updating, and I want to know what those values are. And I guess when I am storing, like, I can't say it anymore because I've taken it away, but when I'm storing hosts, I'm going to say select this field from this table. So I will want host to tell me what field it is. And then I'm going to get back some set of fields. And it says unmarshaller just being a kind of, give it the text and it will turn it back into a host object. I want to say give it the result set and it will work out what's inside there and how to get the host. So it feels like marshalling and unmarshalling is a wrong abstraction here. It feels like it should be a kind of marshal yourself for a particular storage. It should be Postgres Marshal or maybe SQL Marshal or something like that. An SQL unmarshal. I'm not entirely sure where to put that because the storage level here is trying to, it doesn't want to know about what's underneath. It doesn't want to know about storage. It's just as long as the storage implements these methods like load, adds, and removes. I need to support this type class. But I think this idea of marshal and unmarshal is incorrect. In a way, I kind of want to, can we have a circular reference here? So can we say marshal, given some storage, say given some storage, we go from S to that. So Marshal will say Marshal file storage host and unmarshal file storage host. Now, this is a bit worse because you're going to be, this assumes you're given some text because you read it out of a file, but it's not going to be text when you read it out of a database. It's going to be a set of results. So maybe doing this generically to a type class is not the answer. But I still like the idea, I like the challenge of trying to make storage swappable. We're almost out of time tonight. I'm not sure how much further I'm going to get with this. Maybe I'll call it a day at this point, I would think. So we got to the point where we can put stuff into the database. But it doesn't, but I can put simple things in the database as long as I have a single column called name. I don't really know how to solve that for episodes with the current approach. And marshalling and unmarshalling seems like the wrong abstraction. But if not, what do we pass in here? How do we take our database result and turn it into the correct thing? It's going to require a bit of thinking, I think. So I might call it a day here. Yep, at least I've done something, which is getting some stuff stored and the web interface just kept working, so that was quite nice. Yeah, I'll have a little bit of a think about this if I have time. And then next week, I'll come back and I'll try and actually make this interface correct so that we are not relying on Marshal and unmarshal to be able to put stuff into a generic storage thing. Cool, well, thanks for watching along. And hopefully I'll see you next week. Goodbye.